what this webinar is about is something that's very important to me, and it's something that I've actually learned myself. And as you guys know, when I learn something and I experience it and I get an insight from it, that's when I tend to pass it on. And for those of you who know me, or most of your clients, because this comes from my client group that I'm inviting, and I did a brief section on Facebook, so some people might be here because of Facebook, but most of you know that my life has definitely not been easy. So I'm just sorry, I'm just going to just mute everyone. And in the last few years, I've really struggled, like financially, and things happened. And then I start researching things and I'm thinking something isn't feeling right and I want to figure out what it is. And then I've kind of fell in love with the whole dynamic of the masculine and feminine, not just because I was thinking about relationships, but ultimately what the idea was behind my empire of love. If people know me, they know that I talk about it a lot. The empire of love for me is an empire that is run by love. It's anyone who wants to be part of being governed and in servitude of love, sharing more love, creating more love, shining, always call it being your flavor. My flavor today is galactic stars, to make you guys, remind you guys that you're all beautiful stars, because we're made of stardust. So the empire of love was because of all my relationships kind of messing up. I was like, shivered, I need to figure out a way to heal this. There needs to be a way where the male and female, masculine and feminine energies can be combined and work in harmony. And then I started reading a lot of stuff, and what came up was that it's a worldwide inquiry. There's a lot of people on this inquiry feeling that there's different kinds of energies. And I think when I talk about energies, it's a way of being. It's a way that we present in the world. It's a way that we interpret our experience. So a lot of the stuff comes from our thoughts. And in general, the thought or the action-based energy is the masculine energy. And I'll do a workshop on that some other time. And the feminine energy is about intuition, creation, and flow. And in flow, being in flow means you're not resisting what is happening. And we need both. We need, as you see in yin and yang, there's these two things which are quite like interconnected, but a little bit of both in each. We are all like that, whether you're male or female, it doesn't really matter. We all have these energies. And when we're in our male energy, we are action driven. So we do a lot of stuff. We are thinking, we are working things out, we're analyzing, and we're not very intuitive. We're very mind based. When we step into feminine energy, it's a space of creation, presence, flow, a state of being. And what I realized for myself is I was a lot in my masculine energy, very action-based, very driven, doing all the time. If I was sitting still, I think like, oh, I can't be sitting still. There's something else that needs to get done. And I thought, this is going to be amazing. This is going to make my whole life super effective because I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm running lots of things and I'm creating new things and starting new things. But ultimately, I was very driven from that side. So what I was attracting also in my relationships were the opposite of that. I was attracting men in their feminine energy. So men that are more complementary to me being in my masculine energy. So softer, gentler, but also in terms of what I was lacking was the masculine. And I had to learn to step away from my masculine in the romantic arena. It's fine to use it in work, but when you step into it in your romance, you have to accept it. Whatever energy you're in is your choice. Just know that if you're in one, you tend to attract the other as a complementary. So what I was attracting were very feminine men, or men that were in their feminine energy, which isn't very action-based. It's not driven. It's not career-driven. It's not the protector provider energy, because I was doing it for them. I was the protector provider for everyone. And when you're the protector provider for everyone, it says, I don't need anyone. So what you'll see today is I'll discuss a few of the things that come up for us when we're in our feminine. Our feminine is what I'm talking about today. Feminine is the intuitive space. When I learned to step into my feminine, when I started becoming more creative, more present, did stuff for me. I even went, and you'll see today I'm drinking my cacao. It looks pretty gloopy, and it is. cacao is heart medicine and it's feminine energy. I had to do a ritual process on a day and I loved it because I had to learn to put stuff back into me. I was really good at giving and giving and giving. And even in my job, I'm giving and giving. And I had to receive. I had to step in a space of receiving. And that was hard for me. But what I did and what I got from that was intuition to start being more creative. And I became more creative, designing cards and doing art with alcohol ink. And the moment I started stepping more into my feminine energy, what happened as a response without that being the intention was that I started earning more. And this is something I actually wanted, but was like terrified of doing. I was always thinking, just work harder and you'll make more money. I know these people say, be in your feminine energy and you're going to receive and all of this. And I was like, I just need to work harder. The moment I did, the more creative and feminine I became, the more I started receiving. I received stuff in gifts or winning things. I'd order something online and suddenly they send me a whole hamper with it. And recently I also ordered from like Babylon's tour and I ordered this veggie box and inside were a whole stack of beautiful soaps, which I didn't order, but that was just a gift. Or I'll be buying something online and suddenly they'll say, oh, there's a discount, which you didn't realize, and it's now being taken off. So there's money comes in different ways. But what I learned is it wasn't me wanting it. It was me being something different. I was being more authentic in my feminine, receiving, kinder, gentler, softer. In my masculine energy, I'm very driven, quite hard and edgy. Where if we look at feminine energy, feminine is the softness, the flow, and the gentleness, the curves, where the masculine is more angular, analytical. So I'm just going to see if this is going to work on my little screen share for starting my little presentation. So let me just share that with you guys. So this for me is what feminine energy looks like. To me, it's this beautiful, shimmery, magical sphere of beauty and power and energy and cosmicness. And it's also the birthing place for what I created in terms of my empire of love, the Empress. What she stands for is being herself, being feminine, being vulnerable. And this is how I see that energy, how I see my feminine energy. So basically, this is the webinar. And if you'll see on there, this is also my art that I'm doing. So I've put my art in because I don't want to shy away. Part of also trying to be invisible is not being who you truly are. Don't want to be seen, don't want to be out in the world, don't want people to judge you. And that comes from a fearful, wounded state. So when you start putting yourself out there and being your flavor, being more authentically you, the universe responds to that. Life responds to that. Everything around you starts responding to that. So this is what I want. I just want to see if I can move my little screen, if it works or not. So these are the things that when you are limiting your feminine energy, if I go through some of these, you'll see what I mean. You see femininity as weak. Now, to be truly honest, I did and still kind of do. Sometimes when I see women who are on their wounded feminine, which is also, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Wounded feminine is the severe side of femininity. Helpless, clueless, anxious. Sorry, I'm just admitting someone. Welcome. Nice to see you. I wonder if are you in Germany or in Croatia at the moment? Nice to have a guy on our talk. So we're just welcoming one of our guys in here.
Hello.
Hi, we're just catching up. We've started a little bit earlier, but I'm just now going through the basics of what does it look like for males or females when we're in our wounded feminine, or how we see femininity, because feminine energy is the receiving, creating, intuitive energy in all of us. So when we see femininity or the softer side of life as weak, When we identify and say, to be in this world, I need to be hard and strong and powerful and dominate. That's when we step into our masculine energy. We need to have a balance. So the second one, it says you feel more powerful in masculine behavior. And I did that for a long time. Being a single mom, you kind of toughen up. You're kind of like, I need to protect my kids and I need to send out this protective energy. So I need to be the protector and provider. The protector provider energy is more of the masculine energy. It holds a space of safety and it holds a space of warmth and comfort and strength. But if you don't balance it with the feminine, it can become aggressive, dominant, controlling. Also, when you are in your weakened feminine, you are neglecting self-care. So sometimes what that looks like for women is when we let go. Or for guys, anyone that's lacking in that side is when you just don't care. And I'm not talking about beauty as in like makeup like I'm doing today. This is for me and it's for you guys. My special shirt again. Just hope you notice the stars. When we are neglecting ourselves, when we see being beautiful and beauty and nature and natural in life as wrong, and we stop caring about how we feel about ourselves. It's more how you feel about you than how the world sees you. Self-confidence and self-worth is all about you, really. It's about how you feel about yourself. Then you always feel the need to be productive. Again, I'm sure this is resonating with a lot of you. Doing. The more I do, the better I'm going to be, the greater my life is going to be. So you on this rat race wheel, the hamster wheel, just running more. Work never runs out. There's always something to do. Housework, homework, schoolwork, studies, anything that you're running, business, it just gets more and more and more. And you think the more you do, the better that's going to be for you. You rely more on logic than your intuition. So when you make decisions, it's all based on just brain stuff. Brain stuff is awesome for executing things, but you need intuition to guide and energize and bring the flow of the potential of that activity. So when you're making decisions, spend time on the pros and cons and then sit in intuition and just say, let the greatest benefit, what's to the greatest good for me and for everyone in my family, universe, planet, let that happen for me. And an example of that actually was recently, I got 2 houses in exactly the same complex. One was bigger garden, bigger everything, but there were different things that I didn't like about it. The other one was the one I'm living in now, the triplex. And I was like, oh, and the pros and cons eventually. Actually, there were more pros on the ground level house. And I sat, and then I said, intuitive, feminine energy. Let the one that's supposed to come to me, let me be in flow. Let me be in what resonates and let that one come to me. And the first response I got was for the one that I didn't actually think I was going to get. It was the triplex, the upright one. And I was like initially thinking, oh. And then when I got feedback from the other house, was like the people that pay 12 months in advance, there was just no way I was going to get that anyway. But now being in the space, I suddenly realized why. Outside, the backyard is full of wildlife and birds. And as you can see, the sun is going to be moving across, sunrise coming up through the backyard. It's quiet, it's beautiful, and it encourages me being in my feminine energy in nature. Because feminine energy is that connection to cycles, to day and night and months and seasons. It's all about the flow. And when you're in that, it balances. So you've got the mind and the heart working together. The mind and the head and the thinking part of the masculine energy. And you've got your feminine energy, the flow, intuition, creation, presence, rest, restore. So this is the combination that you guys are going to be practicing. Number 6, you're trying to control your life totally, not letting things just happen and flow as they are. You think cultivating beauty is shallow, and beauty not just looks. I'm talking about beauty, having things in your home that resonates with who you are, things that make you feel like your space is beautiful. It's a sacred, beautiful place of love. So filling your space with things that make you feel good, that's quite important. You feel like you cannot afford to rest. Goodness gracious. Either you know that yourself or you know someone like that, people who can't sit still, people who just have to be busy and busy and busy. And I'm actually one of those people. sometimes when I'm sitting and I'm just relaxing in front of the TV, I'm thinking, okay, I could quickly just go and check that thing. And it takes me quite long to just be able to sit and be present with doing nothing, really. I'm sorry, I'm just going to turn this up a little bit. You are disconnected from your body. Now, this is a big one. And this is sometimes also connected to trauma that you're feeling. Being disconnected from your body feels like you are a spectator of life. It feels like you are living someone else's life. You're not living your own life. You're just watching. Everything feels like it's happening around you, and you don't feel very connected or present. That's when your feminine energy isn't balanced, and you're basically in a place where it's disconnected. So you're disconnecting from your body. Okay. You have the need to prove yourself. Again, very action-based. When we prove ourselves, we're telling people we are worthy instead of already feeling worthy. So when you need to convince people of something, it means you are not sure yourself. Self-worth comes from a knowing and a feeling inside. It's not actually from the outside. And self-love is the same. But a lot of us actually have wounds around self-love and self-worth from our childhood, which comes from the masculine and feminine. So our feminine primary caregiver would have given us our self-love and acceptance. And the self-worth comes from the masculine, the father. So sometimes when we're lacking it or have a disconnect with either of these, we can suffer from issues of self-worth and self-love. The next one is 11. You experience trauma or abuse. As a woman or as a man, I have a few clients who've also experienced abuse, being men. And what that looks like is when we feel trauma inside, we disconnect from our body so we don't feel the pain. We don't want to feel the pain, or what we sometimes do is we numb the pain through stuff that we do. Now, some of the stuff can be good for us, like exercise, but in excess, when we continuously run and are running away from something, I have clients who are, a lot of them are actually marathon runners, but one of my clients actually admitted she can't stop. She's addicted to this feeling of running away, just getting on the road and running. And when she's not doing it, she feels very frustrated. So sometimes when we feel something uncomfortable in our body, when we disconnect from our body, we want to numb that feeling or suppress that feeling instead of letting that feeling surface. Letting the feeling surface is the flow. It's not trying to control. Controlling it would be the masculine energy. When we're in feminine, we allow ourselves to feel. We allow ourselves to feel pain. We allow ourselves to feel whatever it is that we are going through instead of suppressing it. You were raised by a single mother. So that's going to be my kids for sure. Poor kids, as if they haven't got enough to deal with. So yes, when you've got a single mom, what tends to happen is single moms tend to go a lot into their masculine energy. So when they're a lot into their masculine energy, sorry, I'm just moving, maybe I should be either in or out of the light. It's just the sun moving. So when you have a woman who's a lot in her masculine energy as a single mom, like I am, what tends to happen is you don't support the feminine side. You tell your kids to be tough. You tell them to toughen up and be strong, and we haven't got money, and you program them actually in quite a negative way. So I had to kind of learn to be more soft and gentle with my kids now that I know how important the feminine energy is, because when we have a disconnect from our primary caregiver or whoever represents femininity to us, it can bring up issues later on. Then you need to struggle. Things are a drama, everything's difficult, nothing comes easily, life is challenging. If you have those thoughts, that means you're in your wounded feminine, you're not balancing your feminine energy. Because what it basically says is, in order for me to survive, I need to be struggling. I need to be struggling so that gives me worth. Then it makes things worthy. It says here, the number 14, you think suffering makes you worthy. And then the last one, you are busy doing and you forgot how just to be. When we are being, feminine energy is a state of being. It means we are allowing what is to become present. Now, most of us are continuously rushing around. We are so busy running, working, checking, cooking, distracted. We don't actually give ourselves permission to just do nothing, to be, to sit. And I think sometimes also what happens is sometimes when we sit with ourselves, things can come up. And that's the whole point of it, because the things that are coming up to show your intuition is bringing, your feminine energy is bringing the issues that are going in the masculine mind. It's saying, hey, we want to connect. I want to show you what is going on in here that is breaking down your flow of money, your flow of career, or your flow of knowing what you need to do in life, your purpose. All of these things can come to you when you balance these parts. So when you are figuring out what your belief systems are, which come up when you just sit and you meditate, you are mindful, you do hypnotherapy, when you are in the presence of being, your stuff comes up. And then your stuff comes up for you to deal with. So let's just see the next one. Okay, so what causes this? It's an interesting one. Why are we, what causes feminine energy? Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to see if I can create more light. Are you seeing me? Okay. Okay, I'm going to be like half in the dark now. Dark side. Maybe I'm balancing my masculine, feminine energy. Okay, I'm just going to move. Sorry. So this is what causes, how did we get here? Why aren't we just perfect beings? We are initially. We are absolutely beautiful. If you watch children, they are perfectly balanced between masculine and feminine. They are action-based, and they also can just sit and do nothing. And they can sit in that energy. They can be creative. And creative doesn't have to mean art. Creative means to create something from nothing. Creating, making, creating. It can be gardening, it can be food, it can be a project, it can be art, it can be coffee, it can be anything, okay? So I'm just going to read this through for you so you can just follow. Wounded feminine energy is caused by unsafe, traumatic, or abusive experiences from our past. Now, when I talk about trauma, I don't want you to think that it's something that is very severe, although it can be. Severe trauma can be physical, emotional, psychological, sexual abuse. It can be those things. But trauma can be as simple as the realization or the thought or the belief, the seed that gets sown that says, my dad doesn't care for me. My dad doesn't notice me. I'm invisible. People don't love me. In order for me to be loved, I need to be something else. I have to be smarter. I have to be more quiet. I have to be more intelligent. I have to be cuter. I have to be funnier. All of these things basically stem from, that's a trauma. That's something that we hold. Then we create a belief system around it. Then the belief system becomes a pattern, and then we create the flow of that. We keep repeating that pattern until we break the pattern. So the feminine energy sends us back up to go and figure out what these belief systems are. So these can be emotional, physical, sexual abuse, neglect, or traumatic experiences, just like I explained. These events leave an imprint in our psyche and I think in our being, not in our soul. Our soul's untouched. Our soul just is our soul, which causes us to distort our view of ourselves, others, and the world. So we can say stuff like, I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I'll never be smart enough. I'll never be beautiful enough. I'll never be thin enough. I'll never be cute enough. I'll never be whatever those wounds are. Or we'll say to the world, people cannot be trusted. The world is a horrible place. The world is full of bad people. So you can have, these can actually filter into your world. Then we develop coping mechanisms as a way to protect ourselves from the pain. We experience pain because of these beliefs about ourselves, others, or the world. And then we start building layers, protective mechanisms. And this is where the masculine energy then steps in because it's going to protect and provide, right? Unfortunately, these coping mechanisms often become our new normal and keep us locked in our wounded selves. Instead of stepping in and listening to the feminine energy and healing the wound that I'm not good enough, I will never be good enough, I can't do this, I'm not capable, I am just an anxious person, I'm a shy person, I will never be confident, I'll never achieve what I want, money is difficult, I'll never be successful. All of these wounds, instead of looking at that, we become hard and protective of these wounds. And then hiding your feminine side is a way how you try to protect yourself, because we're now stepping into masculine, we're protecting our feminine energy. And we're basically saying, in that, we're saying feminine is weak. right? Because she can't defend herself, which isn't true. Feminine's actually strong. It's equal. Both stand together to work through the issue. It's not one or the other. And it's a coping strategy to feel more in control and in power, because that's what masculine energy does. It helps to control and it helps to bring power to a situation. And in the right environment, that's amazing. When you need to step into your masculine and use it, it is phenomenal. It's action. It blows things apart. It's your confidence. It's all these amazing things. But it needs to be balanced with the feminine energy in order for you to receive better. So these are the top 3 causes of wounded energy. Now, see if there's anything that resonates. Some, maybe nothing, maybe all. Having a mother or other female role models with wounded feminine energy. For instance, if you have a mom who comes from a line of women where there's wounding, there's rejection, there was abandonment, they weren't loved by their mothers, they weren't accepted by their moms, they weren't told you are lovable just as you are, and they suffered because of that, you could pass and have that trauma passed on to you. So just quickly look, as a little exercise, what is your relationship with your own mother like? What do you remember as a child? Did you see her in this soft, feminine, caring, loving, intuitive, creative space, or was she in her masculine energy trying to protect herself? What was her relationship with her mother like in terms of, was she nurtured and looked after and cared for and felt loved, or did she feel abandoned, rejected, pushed aside? Those lines, the family lines, can be transferred. We can see a pattern being passed on, and sometimes we have the people who step out of line. That's what I tend to say, people who are changing the game, who can see the pattern and then change the direction for everyone. The second one, experience abuse or violence as a woman or as a man. So a lot of the time, what this means is we talked about, it can be bullying, right? It can be something that happened at school because of what you looked like. Maybe you were soft, emotional, had empathy, and those things were attacked by other people. Maybe you were shy and people were targeting that. Maybe you were chubby and people called you fat. So whatever it was in terms of abuse, those things leave wounds that tell us we're not safe in the world. The feminine energy wants to feel safe. She wants to feel that she can bring forth all her gifts, all her intuition, all her guidance, but in a beautiful, safe space. If she feels unsafe, she needs protection and taps into the masculine energy. And then taking on too many masculine roles in order to survive. And this I'm very strong in for myself. When you are a single parent, you tend to step into that energy of survival. My kids and I need to survive. So then you draw, instead of being in the flow, because the moment you think, if I'm just in flow and I'm sitting back and taking in and zenning out, how's that going to help my family? You immediately switch over into fight or flight survival. That's masculine driven, action based. And that's great, but it's not great if you don't balance it with the feminine. That's what I learned this year. The moment I balanced my feminine energy, I was more present. I gave more things to myself, experiences, fun things I wanted to do, lightheartedness, playfulness, just being silly and intuitive and happy. And the other side, I started seeing how that impacted my life. Especially one thing that a lot of people don't know about me, except the people that are probably very close to me or my family, they'll know that I have, or what I used to be labeled with was anger issues. I don't carry that label anymore, but that's totally masculine energy. It's so far into the wounded masculine. I went so far into my masculine energy that I became super powerful and aggressive and confrontational because I was trying to protect the soft, wounded feminine side. The moment I allowed my feminine side to come forward and be strong in my own self, that anger started dissipating. I started realizing I have more patience with my kids. I have more patience out there in the world. I don't have to scream and shout at every person swerving or driving badly. My money just went, my love, how to feel love, how to express love just grew. I became a softer, kinder, gentler person because of shifting into the side that I always thought was weak. I had a very bad association with feminine or feminine energy. I always saw women as weak or pathetic or can't stand up for themselves, but it was just me not actually accepting my own wounds. So let's just, okay. So what would activating your feminine energy and qualities look like? What does it look like when we are in our feminine energy versus our masculine? It's flow. What does it mean? Flow. So what I see it as is a leaf being dropped into the river and flowing. The leaf does not need to understand it's a leaf or the river or anything. It's dropped in and it follows the flow. Wherever the river takes it, around, over, up, above, it doesn't think, it's just in flow. It's being, that presence, that feeling of just taking a moment. You can do it through mindfulness, you can do it through meditation, you can do it through hypnosis, you can do it through gardening, you can do it through art, you can just sit, do nothing. You don't even have to think about it. It's actually not thinking, it's just being. Intuition, following your gut feeling. How many times do we have a gut feeling and then we just dismiss it because we go like, oh, it doesn't matter. I now look and feel and be guided by my intuition, even though my mind might say something totally different. My head might be figuring things out, the pros and cons, but I have a feeling. I have a sensation, an internal feeling that says, I need to do this. It doesn't make sense, doesn't make head sense, but I can feel it. So when we step into feeling, we increase and we balance out our feminine energy. So creation is something from nothing. That's amazing. Our whole planet is filled with amazing things, hobbies and things we can do. Find the things that make you feel present and in flow that you can tap into your intuition into. So I found alkyl ink, so the stuff that you see on the slides. I found something because it was so in the feminine, it really is flowing. The ink actually flows. There's zero control in the process. You cannot control the ink, which is my masculine side going like, it needs to look like this. It needs to flow there. It's not flowing there. It's not doing what it's, And I used to really freak out when I did my art. Now, I don't care about the end result. It's not about the result. It's about the process of being present. I love it now because I just let go. Where does this ink go? I don't care. It's just going there, this color, that color, and I'm enjoying it more. You can obviously see it. I actually really, really love doing it. So find the things that spark your joy. Find the things that make you feel instead of think. That balances your feminine. Acceptance and receive. Acceptance meaning accepting where you are in life, accepting that you might not have reached all the goals you wanted. You might have wanted kids and you don't have kids. You might have wanted to be financially better off and you're not. Maybe you want to be a different weight, a different whatever, different part in your life, partner, husband, wife, whatever, and you're not there yet. When this happens, acceptance creates this open space of our heart to receive. Sometimes when we're resisting what we have already, that persists because we're not in flow. So these things you'll see actually build and link on each other. When we're not accepting, hey man, this is where I am in life. This is my house. I love my house. These are my kids. This is my garden. And I love it. I'm in acceptance of it. That gives me more of the things that I love. And the experiences and the things that give me the experiences to love. Beauty, this is not beauty, it's beauty. Life, beautiful things, moments, things in nature. Really pause, slow down, stretch time. Look at light sparkling on water. Look for a moment when you see a little bird doing something amazing outside. Instead of rushing to the next moment, just take a moment to see beauty in everything around you. Sometimes it's in a coffee mug. I once saw that the steam was backlit by the sun and it had rainbows in it. And I had to just stop and go, what the heck? Rainbows in my coffee. It was amazing. We don't often see these things. We miss them because we're so in our driven, action-based male running around doing. we forget to stop, we forget to pause, we forget to see the beauty in everything around us. And beauty in our own space, putting things in our environment that reminds us. It can be a flower from outside, it can be a rock from the beach, it can be a shell. It doesn't have to be things that you buy. It can be things that you see in nature that you want to bring into your environment. Oh, this is a big one, the senses. So what my clients might know is when I do certain hypnotherapy exercises, which to me, okay, just let me briefly stop. The difference, what is the difference between meditation and hypnotherapy and mindfulness? They're all the same, except they have different intentions. We all use deep breathing to get to that state, where mindfulness is being present, hypnotherapy is an inquiry as to finding things and bringing peace, and meditation to me is receiving. So when you tap into your senses with all of this, when you are breathing, being present, being calm, and you feeling, and I take my clients through this beautiful sensory visualization where you focus on one sense at a time, you are present in your body. You bring yourself back into your body so you can hear, you can feel, you can experience, you can slow down. That's the feminine energy. You need to be able to tap into all your senses. When you are drinking something, do it mindfully, slowly, intentionally. When you are walking to your car next, just stop for a moment, just feeling the breeze or the sun on your skin. These tiny moments in your day increase the bank of your feminine energy. It brings that energy so you can feel better. Because when we're in balance, we feel great. When we're in balance, our body signifies, symbolizes, shows, expresses through how we feel that we're in alignment. Yay, your masculine and feminine is balanced. Yay, you're feeling good. You're feeling great. You're not feeling anxious. You're not feeling depressed. You're not feeling sad. You're not feeling nervous energy. You're just like, yay, this feels good. That's where we want to live more from than the suffering. Water, totally feminine for me. Feminine is the flow. And water always flows. You can put water anywhere, it'll find a way, but it finds a way intuitively. It finds a way without it being told. Even when it's contained, the moment you let that vessel go, it will just go into all directions. And water also transports you into a different feeling. It transports you into your body again and into a different inner world. So how I use water is through having baths, but you can also use cold water. You can use swimming in the ocean or taking dips in pools in nature. You know, it doesn't have to just be hot water, but water in general is the flow. Being around water, hearing water, feeling water, being present when you're in water to actually feel it. It's an amazing medium to be submerged in. And we forget, because we've done it so often, we forget the magic and the beauty of being covered or submerged in water, even the cold shock of going into a cold ocean. And then the last one there that says relax. Relax. Just don't tell someone to relax when they're angry like me. Relax. Just stop doing. Stop doing. No, I can't stop doing because then the world will fall apart. Can't stop working because then I'm going to be lazy. Can't stop working because then I'm not going to make money. Okay. See what happens when we stop. It suddenly reflects, it suddenly opens up all our negative beliefs that we then can work on to not believe them about ourselves anymore. That's kind of the key to all of this. The whole point of feminine and being present is to see where we are blocking ourselves with our thoughts, our programming, the stuff we continuously say to ourselves. That's what feminine energy helps us to do, because all our thoughts are created by the masculine energy, our perception of the world, to create protection. It's designed actually for our safety. And there's another program I'm doing at the moment, which is a fascinating program about stress, anxiety, and how the brain works. And when I studied and I really went into it, it's phenomenal what our body does to protect us. Its main thing that it's trying to do is keep us safe and keep us alive. And some of those things and ways that it's created is also through our belief systems. It keeps us small, keeps us invisible, keeps us tiny, keeps us here. Fear, right? Fear, anxiety, depression, social anxieties, all these things keep us small. It keeps us not going out into the world and actually experiencing, because it's trying to protect us from pain. But our feminine energy says, hey, hold on, you guys, there's a little secret. Your belief systems are creating a reality. Let's not keep saying to ourselves that I can't trust men, because that's going to give me the reality of men that I cannot trust. Or I can't, money comes only if you work super, super hard. Money doesn't flow. Or the boat's still coming in. Or one day when I get there, then I'll have this. One day when I am there, then I will be able to relax and be happy. So everything can be achieved now. So I'm going to stop sharing that screen, and I'm just going to get back on here. So I want to basically, is there anyone that wants to just quickly we'll do a 2 or 3 minute thing where everyone just wants to say if they want a question or have a comment about feminine energy. What I also want to say is there's a huge amount more. I've just scratched the surface. I'm busy doing these courses. The reason I'm doing these courses, one, is because I got inspired to do it. I want to do it. And it's the first time I'm actually doing it without judging myself and saying, oh, don't do it. I've been planning this actually for 2 years. I was in my head for 2 years. And in 2 years, it was just stuck there. And I was never actually getting it into the flow. I was always thinking and planning more and planning more. And then eventually I was like, okay, I've planned everything I can plan now. Now it needs to flow. And so today is me stepping into my feminine and letting it flow. So what I've got is I'm going to be building a specific course on the masculine and feminine energies. And in the courses, there's going to be in-depth processes, journaling, activities that will be done through the course and in group work together. Because I think working in groups really exponentially changes our experience. And also it's a nice place to connect to people who are on the same vibe as you, the same clan, tribe, whatever you want to call it. So if there's anyone who wants to ask me anything, you can either, let me just, cancel the time. Oh, you're all muted yourselves. You're very cute. But if you want to unmute and you want to ask a question, you can, or you can type it into the little chat box and then I will respond to that. So I'll just give you guys a second. Otherwise, I want to thank you for joining this webinar. It went so quickly, actually. I was like, I've still got so much to share with you guys. But I also wanted to say thank you for being present for yourself. Because the moment the action-based masculine energy got you here, but being present and wanting to receive and wanting to learn and wanting to express and wanting to feel is the thing that actually is the feminine. Great. Yes. The thing it does when we start realizing these energies exist, before we kind of have them and we don't notice them. But when we can label them a bit better, it's got nothing to do with gender. It's got to do with what feminine and masculine means in terms of energy. So we both have both sides within us. It's where are we acting from and living from? Are we just living from our head and not our heart? Or are we just living from our heart and not our head? We've also seen this where people can become over dramatic, over emotional. The world is just drama and confusion. There's no structure. There's no direction. There's no drive. There's no building. So you need both, really. And I had to see it as a practical thing to be able to now show you guys what it's like. So I want to thank you guys for coming. I'm going to end the session here. If anyone wants to join my mailing list, it's a link here. I've posted, it says, thank you, Natasha, and thank you, Caroline, that it says here, if you see at the top of the message window, I'll copy and paste it again here in the chat for you guys. This is just access to my website. On my website, I'm going to post all my stuff and links to stuff, as well as my Facebook page. But some people aren't on social media. So the ones that aren't on social media, you can join. Hi, Tom. Let's see it. Thank you, guys. Yes, you can link on there, and then you'll get sent all the information of what's happening and what's happening on Facebook and stuff like that. So thank you. I hope you are going out there today, being present, in the flow, being more feminine and balancing, so you can receive and get more from life and see the beauty and enjoy it a little bit more. So thank you guys. That's the end of your session. It was really nice to see you all. Thanks, Claire. Nice to see you guys. Thanks, Claudia. Nice to see some of my clients who I've seen for a while. Yeah, lovely. It's wonderful to see you all. And I wish you just a most magical, beautiful, feminine, intuitive, and balanced with a bit of masculine day today. Thank you, guys.